Welcome back to Velo, Ohio, and it is a beautiful Friday morning. I am 8 days out from the last race in the Ohio Gravel Race Series. That would be the Ride on Jeremy's ride. So I just finished up some intervals, and I think that's the last intensity that I'm going to try to get to before the race. Because at this point, you're pretty much done with the excuses. All you can do is stay fresh. Can't really cram any more fitness into the program at this point. This video is being brought to you by Google. Not that I'm being sponsored, it's just that I'm shooting this on my Google Pixel 6a and I'm posting it on YouTube, so quite literally brought to you by Google. So hey Google, throw me an algorithm. And I suppose it wouldn't be a Velo Ohio video unless I had some excuses for you on how I'm going to be better prepared for the next race through purchasing different equipment to better suit the demands of the course. No, but in all seriousness, I am making just a couple modifications from my previous race setup just so that I can eke out any last final 1 or 2%. As you all know, I was not very impressed with the Lauf Grit Fork. I didn't really talk about it in the last race video, but I was back on the rigid Van Dessel fork. I can't even remember what I did with the Lauf Grit. Oh, that's right. Anyway, so what I did, because I was still looking for just that little bit of suspension out of my bike, there's actually a really interesting product brought to you by Redshift. You know that I'm a fan of their dual position seat post. This is the Shockstop suspension stem. That is not a new technology in and of itself. Suspension stems have been around since the 80s, I think. This one is just a little bit different in how it executes the job. So they give you a series of elastomers that you can basically fine tune how much stiffness you want to have in the stem. They also give you a chart so that you can just set it for your body weight and anticipated riding conditions. So I went with that and I thought it was really spot on. You guys can see how this works. If I can remove my bike here. So when you get that impact through the front wheel, it does give just that little bit. All in all, it'll give you about 20 millimeters of suspension, and it differs from the Lauf Fork in the sense that it's way lighter, a little bit less complex, certainly not as unidentified flying object ugly, and I don't think it will actually help keep the front tire in contact with the ground the way that a telescoping or Lauf Fork will, but it just takes those big hits out of your hands and helps you control the bars a little bit better. One unique thing about Ride on Jeremy's ride is that it's going to involve a lot more pavement than the other rides have had. There will still be about 5,400 feet of climbing, but it's spread out over 75 miles this year, so a little bit less climbing per horizontal distance traveled. And I've been carrying around these 54 millimeter wide mountain bike tires all year. I wanted to put something on the bike for this ride that was significantly narrower, but was still going to be able to cope with the, probably 35 miles plus of gravel. So I'm sticking with the 27.5 or 650B wheels, but I am going to go with this Kenda Alluvium Pro that is in 45 millimeter width. Now 45 is still pretty chunky as far as gravel tires go, so it's not like I'm throwing on a 28 or something. I should still have plenty of cushion, but that's where they differ from the mountain bike tires. They just don't quite have the compliance that a 2.1 inch mountain bike tire does, but with this really minimal kind of, I forget if they call it a chevron tread, it does roll on the pavement really well. You sort of forget that you're on a gravel tire. The last change that I made, and something that I think every cyclist just kind of goes through throughout their whole career, is that I have never found the perfect saddle. I've always been on the search, so I guess I'm 15 years into finding the perfect saddle, and it just kind of hit me, the realization that, well, if you're not happy with your saddle, think about just the least compliant, stiffest, harshest bike that you have, and what saddle do you have on that? So this is the Koobi 232T, and it's what I use on my time trial and triathlon Quintana Roo, because in that aero position, always at that high exertion. You're just putting so much pressure and stress and kind of shear and friction through your body. So I went ahead and I bought one. These saddles are tough to find just in general, never mind one that's at a reasonable price. So this obviously was on the used market, and you can see that somebody Sharpied in the word test. I suppose that doesn't really matter aesthetically once you are actually seated on the saddle. And I thought, if I can't get that out with all sorts of solvents, at least I can just write more Sharpie over it, and then it'll be more black and probably match my bike a little bit better anyway. So anyway, the training's done, the bike modifications are done. I am psyched to get to this last race in the series. It's really hard to believe that it's almost over. I am sitting pretty in 8th place right now. I think the podium is probably mathematically out of reach, but I'm really motivated to just continue to do the best I can. I hope you guys stick around for that race video, and I hope you like the quick look here at my last little bit of bike tech.